this meeting in order to know what is the tax administration of a company that the company must comply with. So there are 6 points that we need to discuss in this meeting, which is the first one is how the company be resident in Malaysia. Then the next one is tax implications. IRB, what does IRB does in practice to identify the company to be a resident in Malaysia, and what types of tax return that need to be complied by the company, the procedure and the penalties, and the last one is the GST, which is goods service and tax, that will be discussed in this meeting. So the first point, which is how the company can be a resident in Malaysia, will be presented by Ms. Faridullah.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Asma. So for incorporate a new company, we need to determine the resident status first. The resident status are important because the company can know whether it can enjoy a preferential tax rate and also tax incentive. So there is 4 relevant sections for the company to be a resident. There are Section 8 Subsection 1, Section 8 Subsection 2, Section 8 Subsection 1B, and lastly Section 8 Subsection 1B or C. So I'm going to explain one by one of this section. So firstly, for the Section 8 Subsection 1, there are two divided for the Section 8 Subsection 1. First for Hindu joint family and also company or body of person. So what is a company? Company, as we all know, is a given legal status by the Company Act 2016 to enter into a business transaction. While for the body of person, it refers to the club, trade association, cooperative society, trust, and also estates. So for why the Hindu joint family, the definition is under the section of the 2 of the Act. Hindu joint family is defined as any system of law prevailing in India known as Hindu joint family. Okay, for the to determine the Hindu joint family, for the resident status is a manager or kata is a resident. So that's it for the Hindu joint family. So for the company or body or person is there are 2, whether it is a carrying on business or not carrying on a business. So for the company of body of person, for carrying on business, any management of control of any of its business are exercised in Malaysia at any time during the basis year are considered as a resident status. So for not carrying on business, for the company or body of person, is any management of control of its affairs are exercised in Malaysia at any time during the basis year are the resident status in Malaysia. So the company or body of person is not in the joint family. Okay, so for the section 8 subsection 1B, there are 2 divided also, which is business and also non-business. For the business is considered as a resident status. For the non-business, example is investment holding company. For the non-business is for the management and control, and also any of its business or affair minimum 1 is actually considered as the resident status in Malaysia. And also for the non-business, at any time, minimum 1 point in time during the basis year, and also for the non-business that are exercised in Malaysia is considered to be the resident status in Malaysia. So that's it. That terms that I have been explained is the resident status for the company. So next section, we proceed to the section 8 subsection 2. This section is to precaution or continuance of the resident status. Section A and 2 have been created to facilitate the tax admin. So under the section 2 following is when a company or body of person has been determined by the Director General. So the keyword is the Director General. So when a company has been determined by the Director General as a resident in Malaysia for a given basis year, that a company or body or person is considered as tax resident in Malaysia for subsequent years assessment until the contrary is proved. So that's mean under Section 8 Subsection 2, the company may need to adduce evidence in order to show that it is not a tax resident for any particular year. So we proceed to the last section to determine the resident status is Section 1B or C. So in this section, it is required the place of management and control in Malaysia as the key factors in ascertaining the resident status of a company, of body or person. So under this section actually, it doesn't need to be the control of the management. It just needs one organization, which is the company or the body or person is exercise its management or control in Malaysia. So under this section following is that one organization is sufficient to qualify the tax resident in Malaysia. So next under this section also, actually the company, the location of the trading act or the place of physical operation is not necessary to be the place of management of control. So as I mentioned before, just one organization is also just sufficient. So under this section also, judicial decision have reviewed that management and control is determined by reference to some of the things. So the example, the reference is the director meetings where the decisions are taken to direct and control of the company, and also for determine the section 8, subsection 1B or C, that is falling under the required place of management and control is where the real business is carried on, like where the central management and control act abides. So that is how we want to determine the resident status of the company or the body of the person. Okay, next we have clearly know about the section for the company to determine the resident status of the company of the body of person. Next we proceed to the tax implication. So for the tax implication is there is an instance where the foreign corporation setting up a branch in Malaysia to carry on a business, such as a branch is treated as a non-resident in Malaysia. As example, if we have a branch in another countries, as in Australia, we want to setting up a branch in Malaysia. So what is the tax implication for that company? So the tax implication has 4 details particular. So for the first one is derivation of dividends from Malaysia. So this means derivation is actually meaning the action of obtain something from source of origin. So if the dividend and distribution by a resident company, if our company have been determined as a resident status in the company, what is the tax implication? So the first one is the dividends and distribution by a resident company in the basis here are deemed to be derived from Malaysia. Why? If our company is non-resident company, our dividends and distribution are not a Malaysian sources dividend. So next, for the business income. For the business income in the resident company is taxable. The taxable is deemed derived from Malaysia. It means that business income is taxable if the business income is deemed derived from Malaysia as in section 12. So for non-resident company, the business income only taxable if through a permanent establishment. What the means of the permanent establishment in the slide? So the permanent establishment means that applicable where double tax agreement between Malaysia and treaty countries exist, or a business present in Malaysia exists in the Malaysia. So the third one is for the double tax relief. If our company is a a resident company, our double tax relief are applicable. While if it is not a non-resident company, the double tax relief is not applicable. So for the income tax rate, for the resident and non-resident company, the income tax rate are the same. Flat rate of 25% in the year's assessment 2019 until 2015, while started year assessment 2016 until now, the flat rate of income tax rate is 24%. Include the resident company and also non-resident company. So actually that is have advantage for the resident company as in Malaysia. So one of the advantage of the resident company is the incentive available for the resident company under the Act and PIA 1986. So PIA is stand for Promotion of Investment Act. For the incentive for the business, for the resident company is available, while for the non-resident is not available for the incentive. So that is the tax implication that might be received by a company when it is a resident or non-resident in Malaysia for the 11 year of assessment.
So thank you to Ms. Mariba. So just now she has explained about the resident status of the company, non-residents, and also the tax implications if we want to open a new branch or anything. So now we are going to further discuss about the IRB. What does IRB does in practice? To identify the company to be a resident in Malaysia, that will be presented by Mr. Wan Amir. So please, Mr. Wan.
Thank you, Miss Asma. So, first thing first, before we proceed to the what IRB practice in order to determine the resident status of a company. So, in identifying resident status of company in Malaysia, which is classified by two, which is company which carrying on business and company which is not carrying on business. So for the carrying on business, the management and control of any one of its business are exercised in Malaysia at any time during the basis year. So for not carrying on business, management and control of its affairs are exercised in Malaysia at any time during the basis year. So the difference between the carrying on business and not carrying on business is for carrying on business, the business are exercised in Malaysia. So for not carrying on business, the management and control of only its affairs are exercised in Malaysia, not the any one of its business. So next one is what IRB practice to determine the resident status of company. So the company which want to know their resident status of company in Malaysia, the company need to apply to the respective assessment branch to issue the certificate of resident from the IRB. So the tax resident status of a company can be easily confirmed based on the Form C, which is the tax return form, and the board of director meeting held in the prior year. So next we proceed to the types of tax return by company. So the tax return form of company for year assessment is the Form C, and this must be submitted on the grace period for submission through e-filing, and the submission of the form is within 8 months from the date following the close of the accounting period. So if the company fail to submit the Form C, which is the tax return form, a penalty equal to the treble amount or triple amount of the amount of tax can be imposed under section 112 subsection 3 in the Income Tax Act 1967 based on due date of submission. So if a company don't submit the Form C, so there will be penalties based on the Income Tax Act 1967. So that's for the types of tax return form by the company. So next we proceed to the procedure tax, which is going to be presented by Miss Asma.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Wan. The procedure of tax. So we really need to know what is the procedure of the tax, because the tax will affect our company's profit really. So the Inland Revenue Board of Malaysia has implemented the system, which is the self-assessment system, that will be easier for the company to calculate their own tax. So what is exactly self-assessment system? Self-assessment system is the system that the company will calculate their own tax on the tax laws, the guidelines from the IRB, and the rulings which is issued by the Inland Revenue Board of Malaysia. So the first procedure of self-assessment system is the company are required to furnish the estimate of tax. Which means prepare the estimate of tax, which is to fill in the return form C. So the next one, the next procedure is the company need to prescribe the form A204, which will be issued to the company that is registered under the Inland Revenue Board of Malaysia. And the third step, which is the third procedure, is we need to calculate the estimate of tax according to the basis provided or within the stipulated time. And the next one, the company need to make sure the amount of that we calculate the estimate of tax must be less than the revised estimate of tax, which is the amount of estimate of tax that we have calculated must be less than, or not less than, it must be approximately same as the revised of estimate tax. And if there is any change of the company's accounting period, we need to let the IRB knows by filling the form of CP204B, CP204B, and need to send it to the processing center at the IRB. For the next procedure is for the payment of tax. The payment of tax can be done by installment, which is it must be done initially done in the second month of basis period, which is using the CP205, and the payment of second month of basis is on initial, but on the next month we need to pay on the 10th day of each month. So that is all the procedures that we need to comply with in order to estimate our tax. So if we don't comply with the procedures that I mentioned before, we need to pay for the penalties, which is there are a few penalties that the IRB has. So there are a few penalties that will be imposed for the company if the company doesn't follow the procedures, which is the first one, the failure to pay out the installment payment within the stipulated time, which is there will be an increase of 10% for the tax that will be incurred to us. So the second one, if we fail to pay the balance of tax, that is tax payable, will be imposed 10% also, 10% increase in tax. That is high. So we need to very jot down for the 10% increase. That is very high. There will be decrease of profit. So that's why we have to take note the penalties that will be given. So the last penalties is if the company fail to return or submit this form, which is the form C, by the date, the company will be penalized for as much as RM2,200 to 2,000. So that's all the penalties that will be given and that will be imposed to the company that is failed to comply with the procedures and the Those are the procedures. So the next one is tax assessment. So the tax assessment is the summary of the tax procedures and penalties, which is the first one we need to furnish the return form C, which is just like what Mr. Wan has said earlier. And the second one is the final payment that you need to pay is not later than 6 months after the accounting period. And the notice of assessment. The notice of assessment will only be issued by the IRB if the company doesn't pay on time. So the notice will be given to us if we don't pay on time. And the last one is 6 months of the close of account. This is the date that must be followed by us in order to make the final payments. So that's all the procedures and penalties that will be imposed to us for the company. So the next one is goods service and tax. Goods and service tax that will be presented by Mr. Afif. Please.
So first we are going to I'm going to present chronological of changes system taxation system in Malaysia. So first we have in 1972 and until 1975 there is two taxation system which is sales and service tax 1.0. In that it based on Sales Tax Act 1972 and Service Tax 1975. The tax rate that charged by government is between 5% until 15%. So the sales tax 1972 is officially worked on 29 February 1972 and services tax 1975 is officially worked on 1 March 1975. So sales and service tax 1.1 ni is used from 1972 until 1 April 2015. So the next taxation system is good and service tax, which is effective from 1 April 2015 until 1 September 2018. So the objective of good and service tax is to seeking additional revenue to offset national budget deficit and reduce independence on revenue from Petronas. So the standard rate for GST is 6%, but after new government is changed, the government changed. So the zero rate tax is applied after new government take over before SST 2.0 is implemented. So in the end of government achieved 44 billion instead of their objective to earn 43 ringgit 0.8 billion. So the newest taxation system in Malaysia is Sales and Service Tax 2.0, which is effective from 1 September 2018. It is established because of the manifesto of the new government, which is to change GST to SST. So the standard service tax rate is 6%. While sales tax rate is 5% and 10%. It is only charged on manufacturer and importer, not entire change of supply. So the retailer and others are not going to charge by this tax rate. So advantages of this SST 2.0, which is the number of exempted goods is increased under SS 2.0. So the objective of SST is want to earn at least 21 billion each year. So that is for sales and service tax, chronological of GST and SST. So the next is different of GST and SST. GST is a multi-stage tax, while the sales service tax is a single stage tax. So GST is levied on all goods and services including import, but SST is delivered on all locally goods and certain prescribed services, not all prescribed services. The tax rate for GST is 6%, but for SST there is two, sales tax and services tax. So for the sales tax is 10% and service tax is 6%. So for GST, after new government take over, certain goods are zero rate or exempted for goods. So next is the computation of GST and SST. So we are going to look over for computation of GST. So GST, this is a multi-stage tax. So multi-stage tax means that it is charged on supplier, manufacturer, retailer and consumer. So tax rate is charged on each supplier at each stage. So next is SST. SST is a single stage tax. So it is only charged on manufacturer, not supplier and retailer. Okay, that's all for GST. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Aki. So overall, then that is the last stage that we are going to discuss for the tax administration of the company. So overall, that's all that we are going to discuss today, which is the first one about the residency of the company in Malaysia and the tax implications. The third one is IRB practices and types of tax return and procedure of tax, and the last one is GST. So that's all that we have discussed today. So I think that's all for our meeting today.
Okay, thank
So,
you.
Thank you.